You can't really be successful sitting in a house. Getting into property management, do your research each county that you want to deal with. Something that I do is, how we vet our tenants. I will vet the clients too. Everybody is not good. Like all good money, all money not good money. So
What's up, y'all?
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Adrian.
And this is the Two Mics,
Two Glasses podcast,
where two best friends discuss business ownership and life. Hey, girl.
Hey.
What we got going on today?
We have someone very special coming on today. This person that is coming on, I've known for some years now, probably about 10 years now.
Oh.
Because I met him when I joined my church.
Okay.
In the gospel choir, young adults.
Oh, does he sing in the choir?
Well, I think we both aged out, but yes, we did sing in the choir. It was
Dang.
Up until 35. I think it's like 21 to 35.
What they do is there always be some elderlies in the
adult choir. They don't really check you until you look old. But my conscience
could have been
my conscience out, and I aged out during the pandemic, so my conscience was like,
please, girl.
But yeah, we met during there. He's really, really cool, really, really nice, and I'm really excited. So let's hop right into his bio.
Yes, exciting.
Okay, so Ray Sims Properties was established during the peak of COVID-19 in 2020 by Renard Ray Sims of Prince George's County, Maryland. The company began as an idea to better help individuals and companies manage and maintain their properties without the hassle of dealing with everyday property situations. Ray Sims Properties strives to be the best property management company in the metropolitan DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. They specialize in renting out your condominiums, apartments, duplexes, homes, and investment properties. We know life is busy, and that's why you should choose their company. Owners appreciate that they treat their property as if it's their own, from getting the best tenant, maintaining the home, handling maintenance and invoicing, and conducting regular walkthroughs and keeping their owners informed. The global pandemic of 2021 caused many traveling professionals to come to the DC metro area to provide their services to local medical facilities and public service agencies. The inundation of these professionals revealed to them a major hole in the rental market. Their company provides corporate housing solutions in the form of Airbnb rental management, which provides a convenient, safe, and comfortable environment for these professionals to call home while in the area. Over the years, more and more owners have shared their desire to trust a third-party property management company to handle their day-to-day business. With so many across the DMV area, you have many choices. However, with their expertise, honesty, and personalized service, you'll see why so many come to them. Welcome, Ray.
what up? And I definitely aged up the young adult choir. I'm so I'm a real adult now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we all look so youthful. We could probably still be going there. But,
do you know how many elderly people were in our young adult choir? They were just holding on.
Yes. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem.
Yeah. So we have a few questions to just start things off. One, we want to know what your favorite book is right now.
My favorite book? Oh, that's a tough one. Probably the one I'm reading right now is talking about the future me. I can't remember the author name by hand right now, but it's pretty good. It's pretty much telling you how you should always plan for the future in advance, like living the future and not living today.
Yeah. Hold on. That took a second. I was like, wait, what? But I feel you. Planning. Live for tomorrow or live today. Like, okay.
Like you living there like 5 years later. So think about 5 years, like 2030 right now. What am I doing in 2030? I should be thinking about that like right now. And working that type of mindset.
I like that. So we'll have to get the author from you so we can share that with everyone. That's
add it to our library.
Add it to our library. Okay, good answer. Okay, so number 2, if you were to have any superpower, what would you want that superpower to be?
Superpower, To be able to get up and get on the airplane and fly anywhere I want to, once I snap my finger.
Okay. So
Wait, but you got to get on the plane first, or you just fly
Give
it?
me
You just
just get me
fly.
on the plane and fly anywhere. I don't want to have to book a ticket and drive to the
Oh, okay.
airport.
Do you also want it to be free?
Oh yeah, it need to be free.
Okay. So you just own all the airlines
Yeah.
Yes.
and can go wherever you
It's
want.
like going
at
to
a moment's notice.
Bali. Boop, you're in the seat.
But you don't want to fly yourself. You want
No,
people
I
to
don't want to fly
you there.
myself. I don't want to fly myself.
You don't want to teleport?
Nah, I don't. Just get me there. Like,
I like that.
just
That
get me
is
there.
unique. I don't
Maybe
think
he
I heard
has
that.
maybe like the power is like it's like a short-term power, so you could like plop into a plane, like you got like 2 minutes to do it, but if it's longer than 2
with
minutes,
the luggage going under the plane.
yes,
So
if
he's
you're
like
touching it,
and then it just like
pops.
swoop, and it goes where everything goes where it needs to go. And then he's on his way to Bali or wherever you want to go. Why
Yeah.
I say Bali?
I said hi, I said Bali.
Did you say Bali?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't even.
Bali.
I heard that by accident. All right, cool. That's dope. All right, last question. What you drinking, friend?
Some strawberry melon wine I get from Linganore.
Ooh,
Oh,
Linganore. That's our spot.
We
That's
need to put some prayers
I think
up
I ran
for
into
Linganore.
Ray at Linganore before.
We did.
Yes, for those who don't know, Linganore is a winery in the Maryland boonies. I don't know what city is that?
It's Mount
And
Airy.
Mount
It's
Airy.
near Frederick. Yeah.
Near Frederick.
Mhm.
Okay, because it just takes forever to get there.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous. Prayers up for Linganore. They had a little
Fire.
Yeah. So
Did you see that? They had like a explosion
know that
in
part.
their in their
They're not gonna have
brewery.
the Caribbean Festival this year.
No, they said they still have it
How?
because they had it in the brewery. So I guess it's
So
just
the wine is
brewery is-
safe. Oh my goodness. It
Yeah,
looks
that was
crazy, right?
That was really crazy.
Yeah, prayers up to Linganore.
But yes, that sounds delicious, right?
I know. Strawberry. That's so you like sweet wines.
Oh yeah, like I'm a lightweight, so
We didn't really do Cabernet over here, so you know.
Well, today is a little sweet.
Okay.
So speaking of sweet wines,
What are we drinking?
so today we are drinking. We have a sponsored bottle.
Yay.
It is called the Imperial 202 Demi-Sec. One of our past episodes, we had another bottle. It was like a rosé version of this one. So this is another bottle of Imperial 202. This sparkling wine is the perfect blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, offering just the right touch of sweetness for those who love a slightly sweeter sip. What makes it even more special is that it's from a Black-owned company based right here in the DMV. If you're curious, you can find out where to pick up a bottle at imperial202.com. Cheers to celebrating in style. Okay,
And
so
cheers.
Ray, cheers.
cheers.
Okay, yummy, yummy. All right, well, okay, so let's kind of start from the beginning. You know, we read your bio and I've just been following you, you know, for a while, and I see that you're doing like really amazing stuff with you know, home ownership and rentals and property management. So tell us kind of like, how did you even get started doing that type of work?
So I started with my own property in Capitol Heights, house in Capitol Heights. I always had parties at. In the middle of COVID, I realized like I don't want to live here no more. And I'm the type of person who would think about stuff but don't execute. But during COVID, you really had no choice. You couldn't do nothing; everything was closed. So one day I started driving around 202 when he was building all those houses by Wegmans. I was like, I want a brand new house. So then I went home, did a little research, found all the new communities in the area, which is a lot, and started going to them. And then I told my realtor, I was like, hey, I want to buy one of these houses. He told me what to do, told me how to rent it out. I moved to my mother's house.
You were renting before?
No. When I was in my Capitol Heights house, I moved out my Capitol Heights house and moved to my mother's house because I ended up renting the house.
Oh wow!
So was that in an effort to like raise
Save
funds
money
for the new house?
because you know when I sold my house, I ended up getting a new construct, and you know they were asking for a lot of money, a lot of like $20,000 down. So I moved to my mother's house, and mom not gonna charge me for no rent. I'm the only child, so I moved in and I stacked up all my money and ended up getting his house, closed his house, saw the process from start to beginning. I'm doing that process at my mom's house. I started the LLC. I was like, I'm going LLC, my Capitol Heights house, and I'm going to rent it out. I never thought it was going to grow like it's doing until another young lady from church saw what I
Shout
was
out
doing.
FBCG.
Yeah, saw what I was doing, and she moved to California. She said, I don't ever want to come back to DC. So she said, I want to take over my property. So I took it over. We found renters who are amazing. And it just went from there. I think it got start getting big when I started doing stuff on Instagram. Instagram pretty much blew it up for me. Because I've gotten clients off of Instagram. I got clients I haven't never met before, like never seen in
Really?
my life.
Wait. So, like, how did you set yourself apart on Instagram? That's not an easy thing to do. Like, what do you think made it pop? Like, what did you do?
Between word of mouth, those hashtags, work a lot. Word of mouth, and one thing that I was doing, one hack that I think is good for any industry. For me, you know how you can search for stuff. So on Instagram, I was searching for DC realtors or MD realtors and start following them all and start building a lot of relationships with them. So from there, I get those relationships and they refer me to people because most realtors aren't managers, but a lot of people think they are. So they start referring me to people, and it's just start growing that way.
Okay. So, if I'm getting things right, it started off as a personal goal to just move out of your old house.
Yeah,
You moved out your old house, that cash bought a new house, but kept the old house, which
yeah,
I will tell you is not something everybody can do. So it's like a blessing that you were able to do that. But I know you had to be super, super disciplined.
yeah.
So you rented out this house, but then in that process, realized that you also want to be a property manager for
Yep.
other people's rentals.
Yep. It didn't really start until my friend from church was like, "Hey, I want you to manage my property too, because I see what you're doing with your house. I want you to do it for my house." So that's how it really, really started.
Okay.
Were there any like tools or techniques that you had to do differently managing one property versus like more than one property?
Only thing is really like lining up resources, like knowing people, because you don't want to have like somebody just texted me right now saying that something's wrong with their oven, but I know an appliance person, so I was able to text them real quick. I don't gotta go on Instagram and find anybody. So I was just knowing people in the area, and I think the good thing I'm from here, so I went to high school in PG County. I just know people who got their own businesses doing like plumbing and electrician. So that's easy for me here, just to have that thing. And I think that's how I market myself. I have all the resources that you need in that area, in the DMV area.
Yeah, I actually used to work for a big real estate company, and it was like multifamily. So like a lot of the things that you go through with residents is you gotta be patient. I'll say
Yeah.
that, right? So how have you been able to, now that you're managing like multiple homes, like do you have a team? Like how did
Well,
you
how
kind
many
of
are you
grow?
managing?
Yeah, how many homes are you managing?
Right
And like
now,
how are
right
you?
now, yeah, right now in my portfolio is 23 properties.
23. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot
So
of people.
Impressive.
I don't necessarily have a team. I am talking to my accountant. I had to get one of those now, right? Because I'm not a I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a numbers person. I don't even want to look at numbers.
Right.
I ended up having to get that, so I started talking to him. I'm like, I need a system because I like to travel. We're trying to fit that in right now, but I mean, I think the good thing is you don't have to deal with each client. I mean, each tenant every single day. Like it's some tenants I don't even hear from all month. They pay their rent, everything. They only really call me when something happens, which is not very often. But I mean, when they do, I have to be. You got to execute quick. Like you can't have them waiting because now there's laws behind that now.
Oh,
So
I know that.
yeah.
Is there any certification that you had to get to say like I'm a property manager and I can help you through this, or is this really like a word of mouth?
In DC, you have to be certified. So I did take the test. I got certified in DC. Maryland doesn't really have any strict property management rules at all, but a lot of other states do. So like I want to start expanding to like Atlanta, Dallas, and you do got to have some type of license to do it in those areas.
So you're just gonna leave out Virginia?
So
Virginia
for
next door.
Virginia, you have to be associated with a broker, and I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, and Virginia not my spot anyway.
How rude. I'm just kidding. But it's really important to know, just for those who are watching who might want to get into this, that just like real estate, property management has specific licensing depending on where you are. So it's really important to know the laws of your area as you're getting started. Because I didn't even know that. I thought you could just
Yeah, property.
Yeah.
Really, definitely, it's so many different laws because whatever the laws in DC is different from PG County. PG County might not be the same as Baltimore. We are close to each other.
Yeah. And I think it's a little bit different. Like if it's your only unit, like it's your house, like this place, your house, and then you decide to rent it out or whatever, and you're just property managing that one, I think there's less restrictions than like if you're managing more than one.
Yeah.
Is that right, Ray?
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Like you
But
definitely, you definitely
go
want to get like a license. Like PG County, you need a license to rent your house out. Charles County, right next door, you don't.
Oh, so it's by county. It's not even a state
Yeah,
thing.
the license is by county.
Oh.
Okay.
Dang, I didn't
So
know
like
that.
evictions is by county.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. I know that part.
Okay.
Seen some evictions.
Yeah.
But also, I had a thought. Oh my God, I just lost it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to ask, so Ray, so you were saying you were like saving the 20K to put down. Tell us kind of like about your background and some financial things you were doing to kind of prepare yourself, even just for buying your first home.
Yeah, so
100%.
my background, I still do it. I do project management for the government. For my first home, at that time, I had a second job too. I was working at Holy Cross Hospital, an emergency room. So I was always just picking up hours, just stacking up money, where I was able to buy the first house. And then same for the second house. Like I was still there at the time. I actually quit right when I turned 40.
Congrats.
You're 40?
Yeah.
So you definitely could have stayed in the choir. Y'all could have stayed in that choir. I would have done
So
it.
like even for this house, when I moved back to my mother's house, I was getting that rental income, saving that money, and then I was busting my ass at the hospital, and I had to pay rent, so I was just stacking. And I had to make sacrifices. Like I like going to trips. I like flying to Dallas all the time. I was just in Dallas last weekend. I had to stop doing stuff like that. I like sneakers. I had to stop buying sneakers. So you just got to make sacrifices. I mean, you're not doing it forever. It's only a couple of months that you're making these sacrifices, but in the long run, it's worth it.
And honestly, you were probably saving yourself like some mental health issues going down to Dallas to see the Cowboys lose. I'm just saying, you just watch it on TV. You have to spend all that stress. Just keep yourself calm.
Ooh, cold.
It's only because my husband loves the Cowboys. And y'all be struggling. Like y'all be
we struggling now.
I guess it's similar to the Redskins. I'm sorry, Commanders. Excuse me.
Home team.
Apologies.
I'm very impartial. I'm from this area, but I'm impartial
You don't
about
care. I don't watch
teams.
the foosball like that.
Anyway, okay. So you said basically you were stacking. You had a part-time job, and you moved back in with your mom, and you were just like stacking your cash, and then you were cutting back on some of those like, extracurricular fun activities you like to do. How long? What period of time were you like stacking real hard and cutting back on your expenses?
Right when I moved back to my mom, I just said, look, because I had that plan. Like I wasn't going to move to my mom's house, just move to my mom's house. Like I had a plan. I was like, hey, I wrote the plan out. Hey, I'm going to move to my mom's house, and I moved to my mom's house before they even broke ground here. So let's say I moved back in September of that year. They didn't break ground until the end of October. So, but my goal was I'm gonna move over here. I know it's gonna be hard because I'm moving to the room that I grew up in, which I had to fit my whole life in there. So what I did was put my stuff in storage. Storage is only like $50 a month. Just took the stuff that I needed. Everything else went to storage and stacked. Just saved. I ain't spend no money. I ain't buy no airplane tickets. Nothing. And that's hard for me because I like going.
Yeah.
That was your superpower. To just get on the plane.
Yeah. How long were you doing that? Like where you weren't doing any of the extra fun
from
stuff?
September to mid-February.
Okay.
Oh,
So almost 6 months.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so funny that you said that you're doing that because I'm currently going through a transition where I owned a condo for 11
Mhm.
years. I sold the condo. Then I moved to a luxury apartment in downtown area so I could have that experience for 3 years paying entirely too much in rent.
Crazy amount.
And now I'm moving back in with my parents so that I can like stack money for
Yeah.
my future.
For your home.
Yes. For my future.
So I have a question. Like from a strategy perspective, if you didn't have your mom's home to fall back on, did you have like another plan? So you were, it seemed like you want to get this done regardless. Like, did you think about maybe house hacking where you would create space for another person or have a roommate? Or like, is there something else that you could recommend to people wanting to do similar things, but maybe that don't have that like, place to land, like going
Mhm.
home?
So I wish I knew about house hacking back then. I didn't. But like I will recommend that house hacking, get a roommate, get a family member. I mean, I ain't really big on family living and share space, but get a roommate, that house hacking, even like Airbnb it out sometimes and get a hotel for a night.
Hmm.
That's an interesting thought.
That's a yeah. So like if
Because
you can you only do that if you own or are you talking about if you rent too?
if you own it, you can Airbnb your house out. Of course, you need to know the rules, and I only really recommend Airbnb if something is close by, worth going to. Like right
Mhm.
now, if I lived in the Capitol Heights house and I wanted to Airbnb it out, I would do it on weeks that the Commanders are playing because it's really close to that field. Or
Mm.
Smart. Mhm.
like start, yeah, or like do it like when they have a big concert. Like if I was living there when that Beyonce went on that field. I would have had Airbnb at that house. That was so good.
Oh yeah, she was at the football
Yeah.
stadium, right?
At the Commander Stadium. Yeah. That's smart. That's smart.
That is smart. So if I were to go stay somewhere else,
Like your place right now, do you have anything like big that's near it?
here,
Like events or anything that happen
I
sort of
mean,
nearby?
we are like 20 minutes outside the city,
Yeah.
so I think it'd
Yeah.
be easy to rent this space out.
Mm-hmm.
But where would I? I would just
Yeah.
go stay with my brother, right?
I mean, there's tons of places to stay if it's just for a weekend. You
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
Oh,
just
your
for a
house. I'm
yeah,
going to
weekend.
your
there's
mom's
tons
house.
of places.
But like,
But how do you
but you have
prepare
to
your
know.
house for it? Because like you have a lot of personal stuff. Like
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also before
I'm
you
gonna
go to
probably.
that, you have to make sure your HOA allows that because ours
yeah,
doesn't.
Yeah.
Some HOAs don't allow renting. You have to really make sure. And also, if you're renting in your apartment complex, they will kick you out if you're doing something against the your
Hmm.
lease. So you need to check your lease to make sure
yeah.
that you can do that.
It's interesting too because I've been seeing people advertise about renting their apartment like for Airbnb, but
It could be
I don't know if they're doing it
illegal.
legally, illegally.
So my thing about that is, because I had an Airbnb in Waldorf, and there was an
Oh,
apartment that I rented out, but
oh wow.
the title was corporate leasing. That's where the corporate leasing came from. But I mean, like the complex knew, so we had that conversation. But at the end of the day, you want these property managers at these complexes need occupancy rate to be high. Like
I'm sure you're enjoying this episode, but we wanted to quickly pop in to let you know about the cool swag we're wearing today. AMW Apparel is a line of inspirational and entrepreneurial clothing for those looking to stand out and make a statement to their following. We provide comfortable and high-quality t-shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, and more. Enter code 2mics2glasses, which is the number 2, MICS, the number 2 again, GLASSES, with no spaces, for 10% off your first order at shopwithamw.com. Link in the description. We appreciate your support.
occupancy rate to be high. Like if your occupancy rate is low, it's something you gotta do.
That's true. Sorry. So what were you asking? It sounded like a good question. Oh, I ruined it.
Blame it on the Demi-Sec. No, I don't know. I think I was just asking about like laws and rules. Like how do you work that? Because I remember in my condo too, it was like
In the lease.
in the mortgage or whatever.
Yeah.
It was not the
You're
mortgage.
not even used to paying rent. It's
not the mortgage. No, I'm
it's a
talking about in
lease.
my condo. When I owned my condo,
Oh, in the HOA.
Yeah, it was in the
in
condo
the
association
HOA,
document.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
HOAs
saying you could not
HOAs are
like
powerful.
Yeah.
HOAs are very powerful. A lot of people don't realize before you get in the community, a lot of people don't realize how powerful they are. Like they could put a lien on your house.
Oh, I didn't know that part. So read that book. Our book was like this thick, and you have to read it.
So of all the laws,
Of all the laws and bylaws, it was a huge binder,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely did skim at least every page.
Skimmed
Because I mostly looking to see, because this is something I wanted to be a rental property. So it's really interesting that we have you here, because that's something I've wanted to do. So when I bought this condo before I got married, I wanted it to be my rental, but I need somewhere to live. So I was trying to figure out, okay, I'm gonna buy it because it was during COVID too, so I want to buy it, and then at some point I want to move somewhere else and turn it into a rental property. So, which is kind of what you did. So I guess it's like really about strategizing, getting your money up, having that discipline, and we see in like it can be done. You know, in this area, I think the thing that deters me sometimes from real estate in this area is that it's so expensive to just get anything. Like our condo was, I don't even want to say how much it is. It was so expensive just to get like basically an apartment. My mom looked at me like I was crazy when I told her how much it would be for us to buy. So what would you say to people who may be intimidated by the prices in their area, and like who still want to kind of take that leap to go into real estate or property management?
Like first time home buyers?
I still say, even, I mean, it is expensive. It's still expensive, but so is rent. Like it's still to this day, like your people mortgages are rising, but like rent is even higher. Like for example, in my community, they still building over here, and a couple of people rented their house out already. The last house, same size house as me, same exact style of house as me, and they rented out for $3,500. My mortgage is not even close to the threes.
But it's a house, right?
Yeah,
It's a whole house. Okay.
yeah,
I was like 3,500
for rent, but
Wow.
but the mortgage is nowhere close. The mortgage is nowhere close to that. So like, I mean,
Wow.
at the end of the day, the mortgage is going to keep going up. I'm sorry, the rent is going to keep going up. Where most people mortgages are fixed. It's only going to go up because of the taxes, and it's not going to, like, my taxes never been up no $100-$200 or anything. It's probably like $30-$40.
And the HOA fee goes up, or mine does.
So my HOA fee hasn't gone up yet since I've been here, but I mean it probably can. You know, usually when you rent property out, the homeowners usually take care of the HOA. So for most of the ones I have that got HOA, the homeowner takes care of that.
Yeah.
Or do they build it into the cost?
They build it in. Yeah.
Yeah, because as I said, like the HOA is a lien on your house. So if just like a water bill is a lien on your house. So if the tenant is not paying that water HOA bill, they're not getting affected at all. So they could leave and not pay the bill, and nothing's going to ever happen to them.
Yeah,
it'd be the homeowner that's affected.
I'm glad you brought up these liability things that you have to think about. So like as I'm growing, or if I'm trying to get into, property management, like what are the things I need to think about to protect myself when you're dealing with people? Like some people are extremely litigious and they're going to try to get you. They think you have a property. They think you have money. Like how do I protect myself? Like what are some things that you did as you started your business to make sure that you weren't putting yourself in harm's way when it came to dealing with people?
Started talking to like realtors, lawyers, people who've done this before, doing a lot of research online. As I mentioned before, what goes on in one county may not be the same for others. So just seeing what those county rules are, seeing what the eviction process is like, because that's something, unfortunately, that's something that you need to know. If you have HOA, you definitely got to inform them that what you're about to do, because they need to be updated.
Did you have to like get any type of insurance for your business or anything? Or
so yeah, like for any business, you should have insurance. So I don't even know the title of it. I need to
like
look into it. Yeah, but like for insurance, for like the house, my Capitol Heights house, instead of homeowner policy, it turned into a rental policy. And the good thing about that, the rate dropped. So that was a good thing. Yep.
Okay. And then you require the renters to have their own insurance.
Yes. That's not a rule everywhere. It's not required everywhere, but I require it for everybody.
Ray, can you tell us about like a horror story, property management horror story you had to deal with? Because I know it's not all like, butterflies, roses.
Oh yeah, no, and it has a lot to do with HOA. And it was, and like, you know what? I'm not mad because it's a learning experience. So a property that I have up in Marlboro, really, 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 probably one of the best houses in the portfolio. But well, disclaimer: one thing I do tell people is that every home ownership or rental investment is not meant for everybody. It's not. It's just not a thing for everybody. So for this particular owner, it he needed to sell the house. So, whatever his story was, he moved away to another state and needed tenants immediately because he took a job somewhere else. So I got the tenants within like 2 weeks. Luckily, because it's not always that quick. Amazing tenants that you will want. These are tenants that you want, like tenants that you want in your house. But like after a week or so, I keep getting messages from the tenants saying like, "Hey, we keep getting this water bill that's overdue, or something from the HOA, or what they one of the main things was, that Westphalia community, the huge community. They have like a huge community center and a pool and all that, and you need to
Is
have a
it
fob.
this in Upper Marlboro?
Yep, Upper Marlboro. Yep.
Oh, okay.
You need to have a fob key to go into these places, to like the gym, the pool, and all the stuff, all the amenities that got you need to have the fob keys. I was like, they were like, "Can you give me the fob key?" I was like, "Okay, let me contact the owner and I get the fob key for you." Contacted him. He says he lost it. I was like, "Okay, we can just go get another one." And he was like, "Okay." He says he put the request in. So it would take about 3 weeks. I was like, "There ain't no way it takes 3 weeks to send a fob key. Something is going on." So they got impatient. The HOA office happens to be in the community. As I said, so one day they took it upon themselves and went to the HOA office. And it was like, "Hey, we living here, we paying this high rent, and we want to enjoy the amenities like everybody else," which is completely fair. The HOA was like, "Well, what's your address?" They gave them the address, and they was like, "This person not supposed to rent the house out. They
Ooh.
on the HOA. They on the HOA." I didn't know that because they're not telling me that type of information. At the end of the day, you don't have to tell me your personal financial information, but I mean that to be courteous, that's something that you probably should do. So that kind of went downhill because now they feel like they're going to be in limbo when something happens and they're going to get kicked out the house. Then it comes out next week the water bill ain't been paid, so the water bill was like $4,000.
Ooh. And
I had
the
no idea.
owner was responsible for the water bill,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
but this is why he was living there.
So he just stopped paying his
So
bills to move.
yep. So was just one scenario after another. They got fed up and they left. And
Yeah.
which was fine for me. So when they sent me a long message, and they're very dissatisfied because the owner is not really taking responsibility of his property, and it's a really really nice house, and it wasn't fair to them. So I understood that, and so like once I told the owner this, he was kind of upset, and he was like, "Well, can I take them to court?" And I was like, "Well, you can't really do anything if you don't got a license." First thing I tell each client of mine is to get a license if it's required. PG County definitely requires it. He hadn't done that. And, like back in my mind, I keep saying, "Well, why are you not getting this license? You're not getting a license because you're behind your HOA. The HOA has to sign off for you to get a property a business license."
Dang.
Mm-mm-mm.
So he's behind the HOA, behind the water bill. And that's actually a unique situation where the owner is the issue. I always thought it would be the resident.
Yeah,
the renters.
Yeah.
And like that's game for people getting into this business. Like you need to cover all your bases.
Yeah.
I actually probably wouldn't even thought that the owner would be a problem because they want to make money. But then when they're out of compliance with stuff, their bills ain't paid, it's gonna impact everybody.
It's going to impact whoever's in that house. And then, like again, as I said, you definitely don't have to tell me all your financials because everything is not my business. But I mean, at least be open. Like, don't have me rent this place out and you're not on top of everything, or at least working on getting on top of it.
Yeah, because they was just trying to go to the pool and this whole thing fell apart.
Did you or anybody like lose money in that exchange? Because it sounds like the tenant left. Were they all paid up? Was the owner like what was the deal?
Yeah, of course the owner was losing money because they hadn't finished their lease. So they wasn't paying that $3,000 that they were giving him.
And they weren't penalized for breaking the lease?
Because he don't have a license.
They had no water.
Oh, the
I mean,
water was cut
they
off,
had
or
water.
Oh, they had water.
They had water, but he didn't have a license. And in PG County, if you don't have a license, there's nothing you can do. Like you can't take nobody to court.
oh, okay.
So don't do things
Yeah.
janky.
Have you had to take anybody to court?
Oh
For
yes,
this?
I actually got to go to court on Wednesday.
Oh
Dang.
no! So what is like the scenarios that are most like that bring
No,
you to have to go to court?
just non-payment of rent. Like you behind on rent and you're not communicating. Like I can understand like if you're behind your rent, but you're communicating, saying, "Hey, X, Y, and Z happened. I'm working to do blah 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 blah." We were most of my clients will work with you because life happens sometimes. Like things happen, but a lot of times people don't communicate that, and if you don't communicate that, like you gotta go. Like we're not
That's real.
gonna play these games. So
Because
you
at the
guys
end of the
gotta
day,
take
the
it.
mortgages still do.
Yeah, the mortgages still do.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
for the client, the homeowner, they have to understand that's the risk. That's the
Mhm.
Yeah.
risk. Like either you may have a tenant that is failing to pay their rent, which affects your mortgage, or if the property is empty, it might be empty for a while. Like you're not gonna get a tenant
Mhm.
overnight.
That's actually a question I had for you was, do you have a specific process in place to vet the right people to get them in? I know it depends on where you live and like,
The owners or the renters?
no, the property manager, because
Yeah.
if you're finding the residents, you want to screen them, make sure they're credit worthy to rent this house, make sure they can afford the house. You want to make sure they don't have like evictions in their past and stuff like that. And I know there's like reports you can get for that, but like,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you think are most important people should look out for when looking for renters for their property?
Of course, you want to look at your credit, look at their credit. I mean, I wouldn't base everything based on the credit because, as I said before, life happens. Like people may have a past. You might get divorced. That messes your credit up a lot.
Getting divorced?
Yes, because like when you splitting away and then the bills go haywire, that messes up your credit.
Mm.
Like
Ooh.
I have a client, a tenant right now who had a divorce. She has a very low credit, but her income is like crazy, and she pays. So like I'm glad I picked her. But stuff like that, credit. If you want to move right away, that's a red flag to me. Because why? Like
It's urgent.
why are you in a rush to move like right now? That's a huge red flag for me. And then you definitely got to do your due diligence, like calling the previous landlords or their employment. Because I had a situation once where somebody filled out the application and I did the reference check and they was like, "Oh, we didn't know they was getting trying to move out of here."
They
Like
didn't
so
put it in
basically,
Were
notice.
they like bad? Were they behind on rent with them?
they did have a history of being behind. I think at the time they weren't. But like you about to leave out this people place and not tell them like that's nah.
That's
Yeah.
not cool.
So yeah, but one thing I do have, I have a property management tool called the Veil, and it kind of does all that for you. It pulls your credit, it pulls the background, it pulls the eviction report. You get the previous landlord information, employment history, and all that good stuff. But one thing I do is just verify because people lie.
It's hard
Now,
to
I'm just
get in.
like a lot of people, probably me included, lied on our resume before. People lie
Hmm.
on applications all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, that is true.
What are your thoughts on making homes like being able to receive Section 8 vouchers and stuff for homes? Is that something that you would recommend if someone wanted to rent out their place?
Yeah, I consider that.
Depending on the neighborhood, I wouldn't. So disclaimer: you can't say no to Section 8 people because it's considered discrimination. So you don't have to accept them, but you have to definitely consider them.
Okay.
Like if they ask for a walkthrough or ask for application, you have to give it to them because that could be a whole court case if you don't. I personally would not recommend Section 8 in certain neighborhoods. Like my neighborhood right here, I wouldn't do that here.
Why not?
I feel like it will mess with the property value. People want to complain because it has been. We have a group chat here, and people were talking about that renting their homes out, and they were like, "No, just not do that." Like we work really hard to get these houses built. Let's keep it like a certain way. To an extent, I agree with that, but I don't have a problem with Section 8. The problem with Section 8 that I have is not the people; it's the process, like the city process.
Mm.
They take you through so much, like you don't even want to do it after a while.
Yeah. So I guess
And
it
it,
really depends on the area
yeah,
you're in.
it doesn't it's not fair to the tenants. Like for DC, it's like a whole booklet that needs to be completed. It has to be in by the 4th. So say for the 4th of October, for a November 1st move-in.
Wait, say
So
that
all that
again.
time you missing money. Not only are you missing money, but like between that time, you gotta wait for the city to come and do the inspection of the property,
Oh,
and then they kind of nitpicky, and then they don't. Places like DC don't even pay full rents like that anymore. So people still gotta come out of pocket.
Mm,
what? Now that is a strategy I was considering.
the voucher.
Is the voucher
Yeah,
program
because they're like,
because
oh,
you
you
felt
get
like
paid
you're
on
gonna get
time.
paid,
You
but
get
you
Oh
your
yeah,
feel
so
like
money.
they
yeah, the
don't
money,
pay.
the money would definitely come on time, but even you as a homeowner, you still have a right to make certain requirements. Like, okay, we would take this voucher recipient, but what they need to do is have a certain credit score. I want them to have some form of employment. It ain't got to be full time,
Yeah,
some form of employment, stuff like that. Like you can set your own criteria.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what I learned when I was researching. It was like, oh, I don't have to accept who comes looking, but
Mm-hmm.
you do have to do your due diligence. And there's a lot of fair housing laws that can get you really caught up with renters if
Hmm.
you're not sure. I don't know if it's by state or county, but it seemed like a lot of things are by county. So you just got to look into it
Yep, a lot of
and
it's by
make sure
county.
you're not
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself in a bind, especially on record. But don't be a slumlord either. So I don't know.
Yeah, at all.
It's tough. It's tough.
Because now what they're saying is that they do the inspections is different for vouchers than it is for getting like a rental license. Because now what they're saying is that these voucher tenants they belong to the city. So if something happens to them, the city is to be
It's
blamed.
gonna sue you.
Yeah,
Oh, shoot. So it'd be like Ray versus the city of.
yeah.
Oh, dang.
Ray Sims Properties.
Oh, sorry. You got it.
Ray, what's your thoughts on like flipping? What are the different strategies? So there's flip and sell like immediately, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then what else is
Flip
there?
a hole.
Flip and hold.
like rent it.
Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts on flip and sell versus flip and hold, or
Um,
flipping in general?
oh, flipping is
Wholesaling.
great. Like if you got the money to do it, then do it. If you got the capital to do it, then go for it. I mean,
Yes.
because I have a buddy of mine. He's a contractor. And that's all he does is flip homes, and
Mm-hmm.
he makes raggedy homes look like the best looking things on the street. So,
Wow.
What are
yeah, I
your
mean,
thoughts?
I think it's a
Oh,
good
sorry.
thing, and then you can sell it. You can sell it for a higher price than you bought it.
Yeah.
Where is he finding those homes?
Just connect with a realtor so they can look on MLS or just drive in the areas saying, "Hey, this home looks abandoned." Then go pull the information about the house.
It's a dirty job. Don't you
Yeah,
watch those shows when they go in there and it's like animals living up in the house?
yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Or people. It's rough.
Yes. Squatters and stuff
That's
Squatters.
like
well,
that.
the
You
squatters
gotta,
is
yeah,
big. Fortunately, I haven't had to deal with that.
that's
Ooh,
good.
that's a blessing.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the slight economic implications of flipping homes in certain areas? Just because of, well, I've heard rumblings of that, like, while flipping seems to be good for the neighborhoods, it does kind of price people out of maybe their native neighborhoods.
Mm.
It's almost like aiding in gentrification in a way. But, like, have you thought about that? And, like, how would you, I guess, instruct people who still want to be in there to kind of be thoughtful of the communities and
It's
people?
definitely it's definitely a form of gentrification. But a lot of people throw that word around like it's a bad thing. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing because don't you want your neighborhood to look nice? That's how I look at it. Like I went to elementary school in DC, and the way the area that I lived in back then, it looks totally different now. In a good way though. Like I'm happy that it looks really, really, really well. Like, and of course it's going to raise what it's doing is raising the property value too. Now it is going to probably move some people out that can't afford it, but I mean that's a risk.
Yeah, because I feel like they, like, just housing authorities and stuff, there's always going to be some type of affordable housing that they're going to do.
Mhm.
So even if like all the neighborhoods in the entire US were like high income housing, they're still going to have to make some of those units for affordable housing. And
God
if you're
willing.
not the one that's going to flip that house, somebody else is going to come in and do it. Like, so it's not like you're really protecting that neighborhood by you personally choosing not to.
Or maybe you're protecting it by you doing it because you have the thought that
Right.
you have thought of the people there.
Right. And maybe you can implement things to make it more affordable or to make it like multi-owner. Or I saw something, I was looking at like apartments in DC, and it was a 4-bedroom apartment and the building was renting it by room. I was like, wow.
By room.
Yeah, the building. It was like, this is like a shared apartment space. But I think they were
Mhm.
doing that to make it affordable because it's like under $1,000 to live in the middle of DC.
In a room?
I mean, it's a shared kitchen. Like, imagine like a luxury apartment. You're not high income. You have the opportunity to still be in a desirable
nice
area.
place.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of the Bronx, but I mean, probably not much nicer than the Bronx. But, you know. Renting rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you're like student housing and stuff like that. Yeah. Just thoughts. I don't know. My mind always thinks through things like that. Unfortunately, I can't unthink it. But yeah, that was a good answer.
Well, I think we're on the home stretch. We're gonna hone it in.
You answered our questions so well. We were just like going and going. And you didn't seem annoyed with us, so thank you for that.
You can tell us very passionate about real estate. So, Ray, do you have any like final words of advice for somebody that may be interested in getting into real estate or into property management?
Yeah, getting into real estate, do your research. You know what? Network. Go to networking events. That's where you meet some of the best people at networking events. Like you gotta get out. You gotta get out the house. You can't really be successful sitting in the house. Getting into property management. Do your research. Research each county that you want to deal with. Something that I do is, you know how we vet our tenants. I will vet the clients too. Everybody is not good. Like all good money, all money not good money. So everybody, as I said, everybody's not meant to do this. So I definitely do these little interviews with my clients as well before I put them on board.
Makes sense.
That is good. That's good. It's a lot of stuff as a property manager I don't think people think through, and I think you have uncovered some things for people to think about. So thank you for that, for sure.
Also vet your property manager. I had a horror story with the property scammer property manager.
Yeah, go with Ray Sims Properties.
Ray Sims Properties for your property management. He's been vetted.
Yeah. How can people find you, and like where, you know, how can they find you and get in touch with you if they're interested in working with you guys?
Instagram, I'm at Ray Sims Properties. My website is www.raysimsproperties.org, and email raysims@raysimsproperties.com.
Love it. Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Ray, if you need a videographer, our videographer, he got you.
You know, he'll make some nice rental videos.
King Crown Media.
Got you. Appreciate it.
Shout out to King Crown Media. So we're toasting to.
Yes. So we always end our episode with a toast. So what should we toast to?
Ray, what should we toast to?
Success.
Success. Okay.
I like
take it.
Cheers.
Cheers to success.